Hi friends, I'm playing with some little cards. I'll find my link and link these. They're the Strathmore watercolor cards, which I love because I make all my cards. And they're actually pretty good quality. They're nice and textured, which I love. And they do pretty well. So I'm going to be using my micron pen. I usually use my Ohuhu pens, but I had them packed this week when I was at my parents' and I misplaced them. I'm thinking I might have left them there. So let's see here, 1 second. Actually, here's one here. I love their markers. They're really good. They're fine line. They're really nice and smooth. And what I love about them is they dry really quick, so I can paint over them rather quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. I'm drawing just some simple little flowers, and then I'm going to go over them with ink and maybe splatter on a little bit of paint. But I like to use guidelines for my flowers. That's just me. So I'm going to go ahead. I have, let's see, let's go ahead and mark this in. So here's, ooh, that is really big. I don't want it quite that big. Hold on. Let me I have this whole fine line drawing pens. That one was really big. Let's see. Let's go with 0.5. See how that one's probably good. So I'm going to draw a circle here. And again, I love these because they dry really, really quickly. And I'm kind of just for composition wise and interest, I have this flower I'm going to make kind of going up. I like to zigzag my compositions just for interest. This one's going to be pointing that way, so this one's kind of leading you that way, then you're coming down here, and then I think over here maybe we'll do one sideways. Okay, so I'm going to draw lines coming out, so it kind of guides me where my petals, and they're all coming out of the center. That's why I do these, because otherwise my petals can be kind of wonky, which wonky's okay. I don't like perfection, kind of boring to me. Okay, and the petals in front are going to be a little bit shorter, foreshortened they call it. That's just how I do mine. And then I think I'll do this one. Let's see. Let's come that way. A lot of times I like kind of curving them like that too. I think that's kind of cool. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to use my pen because I'm going to go back and erase those lines. I don't really want those in there. And let's draw in. Now, when I draw my petals, as you'll see, I don't like just, remember when you were a kid and you drew trees and you just did like a line and a round circle? I like to make my little leaves, petals kind of, again, kind of wonky. I have these little white daisies too, but I think they're downstairs. I don't have them here, but they're very long. So that's how I'm going to make them. Might fit one in there. So I'm following these guidelines, which are really helpful for me because otherwise, next thing you know, all my petals are facing the wrong direction and they really look wonky. There we go. I add in a few here. Like that. I meant to bring those upstairs and I forgot. I picked a whole bunch of them. My flowers are just going nuts right now. And then let's do this one. So this one's kind of facing that way. So that one's facing that way, which is going to draw your eye up there. These I might make curve a little just for fun. There we go. Add in some in the middle, always fun. These little daisies I have out front they're pretty full. So I've got one that one, I've got one that one. Now maybe we'll just do a little bud. So this is probably already dry as well, which is one of the reasons I love these Ohuhu markers. And you get this whole set, although I tend to kind of gravitate towards the same ones. And then let's see, let's do a little bud here. So like that. And then maybe I'll make some little sepals coming out. Pretty wonky, right? There we go. Kind of fun. And I'm going to use a pen now. I'm loving it around here because there's just flowers everywhere. You guys, I even found cactus, which I thought I'd play with again. And now let's do the stems. So you want to make sure your stems, find the center of your flower and make sure your stems are coming out in a way that makes sense. These have quite long stems. So this one, here's the center. So I want to make sure it's pointing towards the center of my flower. In this one, here's the center. It's kind of funny. I see a lot of students really struggle with stems and leaves and things. But I think if you kind of think of it in that way, it might be helpful. And then these petals that are on these daisies that I have, I need to look them up. They might be Gerber daisies. I'm not quite sure. But the leaves kind of come up and they're quite thin. So there's something like that. And again, I'm going to vary them, so I don't want them all to be the same exact length. Something like that, which is kind of funny because a lot of times I tend to draw my leaves the same. I like them long and flowy, but really, you know, they're not always like that. And these, especially with these daisies, they're pretty funky. So actually, I wish I would have put that one over there a little bit. It's a little wonky with the stem coming out. So I think what I'll do is just put one more flower here. So let me draw that in with the pencil first, just so I kind of have a little bit of a guideline like that. And then let's do and I'm going to really foreshorten the front here. There we go. Just start, and then I'm going to go back and erase those. There we go. Really made this one kind of wonky, which I like. And then my stem coming down through here like that. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. It's kind of got that zigzag. Okay, now I'm going to go in. Let's find my eraser. These are usually my black wings that I use, but my pencil sharpener broke, so I can't sharpen any of them. So I'm going to use this. This one's great too. This is a Mitsubishi and they last forever. You just pull the little string and you keep unraveling and you have this huge eraser. My grandson was here and unraveled a bunch, so I really need to cut the tip because it's kind of wobbly. He was having a good old time peeling that off. Okay, so I'm going to blow it off. There we go. I actually, let's just draw in that center there. And I love that this is kind of wonky. Oops, my eraser, let's just keep erasing. So again, what I love is none of this is smearing. And when I go in with watercolor, it's gonna be just fine. Okay, there we go. So quite fun. Those guidelines are lifesavers, you guys. If you're not using those, I'd advise use them. They saved me. And then what I want to do, oops, I just dropped water on there, is something kind of organic and almost abstracty. So I'm actually, I think I showed you this 8-round brush, but I think what I'll actually use is, and they need to send me one, so I don't have it right now, but I'm going to get one of my brushes is also going to be a 16 round, so I'm just going to use that. And what I want to do is just kind of wash over this. So quite a bit of water, but these cards do well with that. And look at that, it's not smearing at all. Ohuhu, thank you for that. And then what I'll do is drop in some of my favorite colors, although I think I will use the yellow. And I love this effect. I think it's such a pretty card when it's kind of abstract like this. Really pretty. And you want to allow it to kind of spread and move. I might add in a tiny bit of maybe some orange. Although mine are white, actually. I do have a few yellow. So I just love this as a card. I think it's really pretty. Just like that. I might tilt it, blow it, let it kind of move around. And then once this dries, which let me grab, I can grab my heat gun. Let's see. Let me grab that real quick. You could tape this down, but I wanted to be able to lift the card and kind of move it around. Got kind of crazy with the water there. Just pick up a little bit of that, okay? And I'm gonna just hit it with my heat gun. These are like $15 on Amazon. I used a dryer for years though, so if you have a hair dryer, that works fine too. But I kind of like this. It's quicker. And when it's cold here, things can take forever to dry. So this is pretty handy. So you can get as colorful as you want with this. I went pretty subtle here. It's already drying, and I'll know it's dry because the paper will flatten out. Notice too with watercolors, they dry lighter. So it's pretty subtle. Now you could leave it just like this, or you could go in with pen and add more detail, or like I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in and just add in. So it's flattening out here, which tells me it's almost dry. I'm going to go in with a little bit more paint and just add some layers. So that's pretty dry. And as you can see, it's pretty flat. Okay. So that's done. There we go. Okay. So let me grab my little 8 brush, and I love it. This brush reminds me of the 6 long round Princeton I always use. I wanted it to have a really nice tip on it. So I'm going to go into some of this green and just pull out a couple. I love combining like this washy kind of abstracty look with some details. I think that's really fun. Kind of my vibe, my style. Perfectly Imperfect, right? You have all heard that one. And look how cool that is. I love this style. And I'm just using really light pressure here. Oop. A little more pressure on that one. Point, press, a little more pressure. Might add a tiny bit of water to that. And then these little sepals. There we go. So I think that's pretty cool. Now I might go in and just pull out a few of these petals. So here's my yellow, which I had in my palette. And this is probably, now that it dried, I'd say it's probably 80% pigment, 20 water. And I'm gonna go in and just point, press, just pull out a few leaves, petals, here and there. Point, press. And this is one of the reasons too, I'm leaving white space in here, by the way, that I wanted that background to be quite washy, so that when I came back in with some paint, it would show up. I just put a little cad orange on my palette there, and I'll just tap in. I love, with watercolors, my favorite thing to do is work in layers. I'll wash and rinse my brush, pick up some more of that yellow. Leaving some white space. Do these. So I'm just light pressure. There we go. And I think the center of mine, I wish I had brought them in here, but you can do whatever color you want, is like a brownish type of color. I always like to use a little bit of blue. In the center. Oop. And I'm just going to tap off my brush to get rid of some of that water. There we go. Just dotting it in. So again, this is pretty subtle. Pick up some more of that cad yellow. And now this might, because this is wet and this is wet, it might blend in a bit together, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. Meaning it might grab some of that brown. See, it did right there, which is kind of pretty. This is the technique I use when I do sunflowers. I like it to kind of blend. I think it looks cool. And it's really, lets watercolors kind of do their thing. So we could kind of do that with this brown up here. I think the inside of these are actually more of like a bluish. But you know, this is your flower. Like, make it, give it your distinct touch. You can do whatever you want. Just have fun. What color calls to you? What color do you want the center of your flower? Maybe you want it orange. Here's a little orange. You could tap that in. There we go. Oh, we forgot our little bud here. So let's take some of that yellow. And again, I'm not just coloring the whole thing in, I'm kind of leaving some space, and I'm actually going to pick up a little bit of orange and go into the bottom and let it blend with that yellow. So I think that's kind of pretty. So there you go. You could even do some little splatters if you wanted, either green or orange. Just not too much. Or, well, you could do whatever you want, but I'm not doing too much. And there you go. There's a cute little card. I'm going to send this out. And I'll sign my name down here. Always sign your name. And that was fun. All right. I hope you give this a try. I will grab my link for these cards. I've used them for years and years because I like making all my own cards. And they work quite well. And as well, I don't have one sitting here in front of me, but I love the envelope they come with because the edge looks like it's torn or vintage or ripped. I love it. It's really pretty. And I've even painted on the envelopes. You can if you use just a tiny, tiny bit of water. So there you go. I hope you have fun with that, everyone. All right. Happy spring. And thank you for being here. I'll also, by the way, link my brushes. Again, they're not released until I get enough interest for them. But I'm really excited. You guys helped me with packaging ideas I had to paint, and the color I feel is our little color in our group here. So you can sign up to have them notify you when they decide to release them. All right, everybody. Thank you. Bye.